We have a tendency to punish ourselves way more than God ever would. But punishing yourself doesn't prove you're sorry. It simply just keeps you stuck. Welcome to the Bounce Back Black Woman podcast. I'm Dell, coach, author, mom, and your sister along this journey of healing, growth, resilience, and living more intentionally. As Black women, we know all too well that life can break our hearts in more ways than one. But here in this space, we heal, grow, rebuild, and bounce back together. Because it's not just you. It's not just me. It's us. Hey there, my friend, and welcome back to Bounce Back Black Woman. In our last episode, we talked about the hidden cost of waiting and how waiting for just the quote-unquote right time can quietly steal opportunities and confidence, purpose, peace, and time from you. But today I want to ask a different question. What if the reason that you've been waiting isn't because you're lazy or unmotivated or even afraid? What if the reason you've been waiting is because somewhere along the way you stopped believing that you deserved another chance? My friend, I don't know who needs to hear this message today, but I have a feeling that this conversation is going to hit close to home for many of us. Because if we're honest, most of us can point to at least one decision that we'd love to take back, simply erase, and get a do-over. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a marriage. Maybe it was a financial decision or something that you said that hurt someone. Maybe it was something that you didn't say and wished that you had. Maybe it was a season where you knew better, but you just were not in a place where you could do better. Or maybe it was more than one of those. My friend, we've all made poor choices, and I am at the top of that list. The question isn't whether we've made mistakes. The question is, what have we done with those mistakes? Have we learned from them? Or have we quietly spent years punishing ourselves for them? And here's what I've noticed. In my own life, through coaching others, and in conversations with friends, family, and women over the years. Sometimes we think we've forgiven ourselves, but our daily thoughts, our behaviors, and even the opportunities that we avoid tell a completely different story. So today I want to walk through 4 signs that you might still be punishing yourself after making poor choices. And as we do, don't think about your sister, don't think about your ex, don't think about your coworker. I simply want you to ask yourself, do I recognize myself anywhere in here? So let's start with the first. You keep replaying what you should have done differently. Have you ever caught yourself replaying the same situation over and over again in your mind, thinking thoughts like, if only I had left sooner, if only I had listened to my gut, if only I hadn't trusted him, if only I had taken that job, if only ... My friend, our minds have a funny way of convincing us that if we replay the past enough times, somehow we'll change the ending. But we can't. We simply cannot. No amount of replaying yesterday is going to rewrite it. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Reflection is healthy. Reflection helps us learn, and reflection helps us grow. But there's a difference between simply learning from yesterday by reflecting and living in yesterday. The first one moves you forward, but the other quietly keeps you stuck. So ask yourself, am I learning from my past, or am I simply reliving it? Because those aren't the same thing, my friend. The second thing it does is that it keeps you from fully enjoying the good things that are happening to you now. And this one is a sneaky one because most of us don't even realize when we're doing it. Something good finally happens. You meet a kind man, and instead of getting to know him, you're waiting for him to disappoint you. Or you receive a promotion at work, and instead of celebrating your achievement and selection, you wonder just how long it'll take before everyone realizes that you're not good enough for it. Or maybe someone compliments you and you immediately dismiss it. You know, oh, this old thing. Or life starts getting better and somehow you feel guilty for letting yourself smile again. Almost like happiness has to be earned. Friend, can I lovingly remind you of something? Joy isn't a reward for perfection. Peace isn't something that you have to deserve. And healing doesn't dishonor your past or what happened to you or what hurt you. Healing honors the work that God has been doing in your life since. My friend, here is what I know after 60 years of life, love, loss, and learning. We have a tendency to punish ourselves way more than God ever would. But punishing yourself doesn't prove you're sorry. It simply just keeps you stuck. And I think one of the reasons that we do this is because we confuse conviction with condemnation. And here's the simplest way that I know to explain the difference between the two. Conviction says, you made a poor choice, so let's learn from it. Condemnation says this, you are your poor choices. You see, the first one invites growth. The other one steals your hope. One points you toward healing, and the other convinces you to stay imprisoned to your pain. My friend, God never asks us to pretend that our mistakes didn't matter. But He also never asks us to build a permanent home inside of those mistakes. The third place that you might recognize yourself is that your worst decision has quietly become your entire identity. Sometimes the hardest labels to remove are the ones that we gave ourselves. And this one hits home especially for me. Because nobody else is calling you damaged. Maybe nobody else is reminding you of that relationship anymore. Maybe nobody else is talking about that big financial mistake. But you are, every single day, without even realizing it. You stop introducing yourself by who you are, and you start introducing yourself by what you've done. I'm divorced. I'm the woman who stayed too long. I'm the one who trusted the wrong person. I'm a failure. I'm terrible with money. I'm ... fill in the blank. My friend, that may describe something that you've experienced, but it should never become the sum total of who you are. You're so much more than your worst chapter. I cannot tell you how important it is to remember that. Number 4 is that you keep telling yourself that you'll start over again someday. Someday I'll trust again. Someday I'll apply. Someday I'll write the book. Someday I'll go back to school. Someday I'll be happy. someday I'll forgive myself. And my friend, I want to lovingly ask you something. What if someday has quietly become another word for never? Not because you don't deeply want a different life, but because somewhere deep down you've convinced yourself that you haven't earned it yet. You think you're waiting for more confidence, or more money, or just the right circumstances. But maybe you're really waiting until you finally believe in your own heart and mind that you've suffered enough for your past. And that is a heartbreaking place to live, because every day that you postpone your future, your past keeps on winning. One of the things that I love most about God is that He doesn't waste our mistakes. He uses them. He teaches us through them. He grows us through them. But one thing He never asks us is to become permanently defined by them. One of my favorite verses is Isaiah 43:18 and 19. But forget all that. It is nothing compared to what I am going to do, for I am about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? If God spoke to you audibly today with those words, how would that make you feel? What kind of hope and renewal would that give you? My friend, God isn't asking you to erase your past. He is inviting you to stop living in it. He knows all about your past, and yet you're still here with opportunities and love to give and dreams to pursue. There's a big difference between trying to erase something that happened and trying to move past something that happened. My friend, your mistakes will always be part of your story, but they don't have to keep writing the very next chapter of your life. This week, I want you to pay attention to the way that you talk to yourself. I'll call this one the Bounce Back Challenge. When you catch yourself saying things like, I should have, or if only, or I'll never again, or I always, I want you to pause and ask yourself this one simple question. Would I say this to someone that I love? And if the answer is no, don't keep saying it to yourself. Replace it with something that's both truthful and compassionate. Instead of, I never get this right, try, I'm still learning how to get this right. Instead of saying, I ruined everything, try saying, I made a poor choice, but I'm not defined by that. Making small changes in the way that we speak to ourselves can begin changing the way that we see ourselves and the way that we show up in the world. Here's your journal prompt. And if ever an episode called for journaling, this one is it. Which of the 4 signs did I recognize myself most in today? And what would it look like to replace self-punishment with self-compassion? And I invite you to email me with your revelations after you sit with that journal prompt, pray, and then begin to write. Write your feelings on the paper. I'm not going to share it, but I want to hear what is coming up for you. Email me at hello@bouncebackblackwoman.com. And my friend, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your regret has already taught you what it needed to teach you. I promise you, it's already taught you everything you needed to learn. You don't have to keep paying tuition for the same lesson over and over again. There comes a point where continuing to punish yourself isn't producing growth anymore. It's only producing more pain, which keeps you more stuck. Give yourself permission to become someone new. Not because the past didn't matter, but because your future matters too. maybe even more. And remember, healing doesn't begin the day that you become perfect. Healing begins the day that you stop believing that perfection is the price of peace. Next time, in the next episode, we're going to take the next step together. Because once we stop punishing ourselves, another question naturally rises to the top. And that question is, how do we trust ourselves again? So stay tuned, subscribe, and be on the lookout for the next episode so we can continue this conversation. But until then, keep healing, keep growing, keep rebuilding, and keep bouncing back. Well, that's it for today, my friend. I really hope this episode inspired, encouraged, or just plain comforted you. If so, please share it with a friend who might be struggling in her own healing journey. And if you take a moment to leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, you'll help other women find encouragement through their heartbreak. Remember that God is holding your hand along this journey. And guess what? I'm holding the other. Life is short, so bounce back, Black woman.